Hello and welcome to a special midweek F1 update ahead of this weekend's Miami Grand Prix. The reason why? Adrian Newey's departure from Red Bull has been confirmed. It's huge news and that is why we are here. From RacingNews365.com, my name is Nick Golding and I'm joined by 2023 Young Journalist of the Year, Sam Coop. Ian Parks will be with us for the F1 updates, but he's currently travelling to Miami. Sam, we spoke about it in the podcast on Tuesday that Newey, the reports were that he was going to be leaving imminently. Well, it turns out that was sooner than we all thought.
Yeah, it was indeed imminent. I don't think the gravity and the magnitude of this departure can be understated, to be fair. I'm not one to necessarily be completely dramatic about these things, but his influence on Red Bull over near 2 decades has been profound. Basically, Red Bull is now looking down the barrel of a very, very uncertain future as it heads into 2026. What we know is that Newey is stepping back immediately from his kind of design work with the F1 team. He'll focus on the hypercar, the RB17, which is due to be unveiled at Goodwood in July. And then he will also attend some races over the rest of the year till the end of 2024 with a departure in the first quarter of 2025. So, yeah, that then paves the way for him to move to somewhere else, Ferrari maybe. But yeah, it's very, very big news.
It's staggering because he knew he joined Red Bull in 2006. He has designed all of their winning cars. They've never won a race without Newey, which when you think of the magnitude of that and the shoes that somebody is going to have to fill, in my eyes, that his shoes are irreplaceable. Because if you are Red Bull now, given the history of Newey, and as I mentioned, every race they have won has been with a car he has designed. They've now got to not only decide how they're going to go forwards, especially with the 2026 power unit regulations around the corner.
Yeah,
there are so many questions now to be answered because Newey is arguably the greatest F1 car designer of all time.
Well, that's the thing. I think for me, there will be great F1 designers that will come down the line, but at the moment, that is Newey. He is irreplaceable at the moment, and there are there's a great team that plays behind him at Red Bull, and they will, step up to the plate, and they will try and assume his, the mark he has left on the team. And whether or not we'll see a huge drop off is so early to tell because it's tied to the engine regulations, it's tied to so many different things. But yeah, it's not good for the team by any stretch of the imagination. And now with it's believed that he may well go to somewhere like Ferrari, Aston Martin. Ultimately, I think it's a bad day for Red Bull, but a good day for F1. In the sense that could this maybe level the playing field? I don't think it's subjective to say that what we've seen the last few years in terms of Red Bull dominance has not been great for F1 at large, and we want more competition. But yeah, so it's as you say, the magnitude is profound, and I don't think it's going out on a limb to say that this is a bigger loss than hypothetically if Max Verstappen were to leave.
Big statement.
Well, think about it. Red Bull has won without Max Verstappen.
Very true.
They haven't without Adrian Newey. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's also the irony that Newey leaving, the reasons why Newey has left may well be the same reasons in part that Verstappen may leave. But Newey leaving certainly makes that a more likely prospect.
Well, you mentioned obviously the current Red Bull dominance, and in the past we've had Mercedes dominance, obviously with Lewis Hamilton leading the charge. We've had Ferrari dominance in the past. We've had Red Bull dominance in the past with Sebastian Vettel. But it does feel that this current era of Red Bull dominance is perhaps the greatest dominance we've ever seen in F1, given the margins that Max Verstappen is winning at. It is extraordinary. Yeah. But the question has to be asked now is, okay, yes, in 2025 we're expecting minimal changes to the cars because everyone will be getting ready for 2026. But does this now suddenly mean that Red Bull, it's not a guarantee that Max Verstappen will win the title next season? We know it's very likely to happen this year now, but does this then throw some uncertainty over 2025, which we all thought was going to be another slam dunk Red Bull championship, because everyone's going to be looking towards 2026?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
I think we can hope for there being close competition, regardless of fans listening who you might support. I think we can all agree that close racing and a good title fight is a much more kind of enthralling prospect than what we've maybe had the last couple of years. I think maybe it's a bit of a stretch to say that 2025 it will come that soon. There's always going to be a lag time in terms of what we understand is that there will be no gardening leave past the point that Newey formally does go in early 2025, which in theory could see him, say, hypothetically join Ferrari immediately, and by the end of 2025 start to see his influence on that car. It's difficult because under a cost cap generation of F1, you are somewhat tied into the direction you've taken in terms of a chassis concept or philosophy. So how immediate his impact might be is probably muted slightly, but 2026 certainly there could be huge shifts in terms of what we see, and you've got to wager that no one has understood the ground effect era as well as Adrian Newey has. If they had, we would have a closer competition for race wins. So I think 2025 will be too early to see that. I think Red Bull is going to be the preeminent force next year, but all eyes will be on 2026 for sure.
It just adds another ingredient to 2026, which is already looking set to be an incredible season. For those who are watching, let us know in the comment section where you think Newey will go and how big a loss this is to Red Bull. But obviously we've got to discuss the ramifications this could have elsewhere for Red Bull, and in particular Max Verstappen, because we know that he is considering his Red Bull future. It's not a guarantee he will see out his contract until 2028. Do you think Newey departing is going to increase his thoughts about jumping ship from Red Bull?
It certainly won't decrease them. I think he will probably have known the way this is heading. Verstappen is so influential and so important to Red Bull that there's no way that he's going to be kind of blindsided by this news, and especially not given the days of speculation. That obviously is kind of coupled with the speculation that's running kind of parallel to it about Verstappen himself. So it could be that final kind of nudge towards the door for Verstappen. I think what will sit uneasy for him is that there's a very good chance that Newey will be going to a competitor, and that actually even without Newey, is Red Bull still going to be strong enough? Are there better options out there? Because Ferrari's not an option, and we think as far as we know, I think the bookies' favourite is definitely Ferrari for Newey. So does Max actually just going to go, I'm going to stick with what I know, given the uncertainty elsewhere? I don't know. But I think on a grander, a broader scale for Red Bull, when a big name like this leaves, that can sometimes trigger kind of a mass exodus.
Yeah.
Some people will be able to step up and into those shoes, and as I said before, kind of assume that role, and that's great for their career. It's great for their development. Yeah. We've seen people having to leave in the past to make those steps. Dan Fallows, for example. But what you might see is people then going, well, is this the right project now? Are there other opportunities elsewhere? Are there conversations I've had that I could maybe kind of, come back to with another team that I might, predict is on the up? Drivers do it all the time. We've seen it in the past. Lewis Hamilton joined Mercedes. Everyone thought, what are you doing? 6 more world titles later for him. And I don't see why it would be different for people who work internally at a team.
If Newey does go Ferrari, then the big winner surely out of all of this is Lewis Hamilton, because all of a sudden his chances of winning the elusive 8th world title just seems to increase exponentially.
There's something poetic about the man whose car stopped him from taking that title, then joining forces with him to get that title, 5-6 years later. He's absolutely a winner from this scenario. Even if Newey...
If he joins Ferrari, just add that. If Newey joins Ferrari.
But...
We're talking like it's already happened.
Yeah, huge ifs. But even if Newey doesn't join Ferrari and Hamilton are still winners. You kind of net off that Red Bull are going to be surely a less dominant force, even if they are still the strongest team. I can't see how the gap gets any wider or stays as wide as it is now. Yeah. Surely that closes.
That's a really
as a bare minimum.
Point. It's a really interesting
point. But even if you go to Aston Martin, they've got further to go to get up to Red Bull's level than Ferrari do. So Ferrari is still net winners.
Well, so which driver is going to come out on top, Alonso or Hamilton? Let us know in the comment section below where you think Newey's going to go. How big is this for Red Bull? And what does it mean for the future of Max Verstappen? Be sure to be checking out racingnews365.com, where we'll be covering all the Adrian Newey news, and I'm sure there'll be quite a bit of it during this weekend's Miami Grand Prix. From myself and Sam, we will catch you later. See you later.
Bye.